Welcome back to the Full Court Press podcast where we pick up 94 feet and talk hoops the right way. I'm Brian Joyner, joined by Ben Clark. Are you ready to apply some pressure to these topics today, Ben?
Oh yeah, very ready.
Yeah.
I've been pumped up about this one all week, so it's finally here.
I've been waiting, man. I've been
I
waiting.
know. Yeah, but
I love this stuff. But anyway, you got something for me?
yeah, I've got a fun short topic. I'm sure you saw, or maybe you didn't, but LaMelo Ball expecting his first child with his, I guess, longtime partner. I never really heard of her, but
Cool.
did you see that in the news?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. So the name is kind of the fun part. They've already announced what they're going to name it. His name is going to be La One Ball.
No.
Yes. So
That's
in light of that, which I'm glad you hadn't seen it because that makes it a great reaction.
No.
Yeah. If you had to pick, and we'll just limit it to 10, what is the best sounding name from La 1 to La 10? Because I can imagine the second or third kid, we might get a La 2 or La 3. So,
I don't think any of them.
well, of course, right. But
I
if
mean,
you had to pick one,
if you get to La 6, then it sounds like LASIK.
yeah.
So maybe that one because it's already a word. But
I think my two favorites are either LaFour is kind of cool because it's like
okay.
LaForce almost,
Yeah.
But I think La6 is maybe my favorite, if not La7.
La 7. That's. I mean, overall, just bad. I can't believe they're gonna name. And it must be a joke, right? I mean, the baby.
I don't think so, unfortunately.
How far along do you know? Did they say?
I didn't catch that part, but
Hopefully early enough where they
get some
decide
feedback and yeah,
that's bad.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
His management comes back and says, "Hey, brother, how about we don't do that?"
I mean, there have been worse, unfortunately, but yeah, not great either way. So figured
Well,
enjoy that.
that is funny. I did not see that, so that was a good reaction. I like. I don't put it past him, honestly. It's like one of those things where some things I read, I'm like, who said that? But then like
Yeah.
anything about LaMelo doing something crazy, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I thought it was just, the headline was like, LaJuan, LaMelo has first kid or whatever. And I thought it was just they're being creative with that, but I think they're actually going to name him that. So
But I mean, maybe like Lawan. I've heard that name before.
similar to that, I think that's what they're going for, but they wanted to make it special. So
Yeah. Well,
who knows?
yeah, who knows? I mean, they come from a family that's LiAngelo and LaMelo and
Mm-hmm.
Lonzo.
LeVar.
LeVar. So
Yeah.
I guess got to keep it in the family of crazy names.
Yeah. Next it's going to be Lamy.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah. That's good. That's funny.
Yeah.
No, we have a super good show today. We are gonna do a little bit, just kind of short playoff kind of update, kind of see what's going on, and then we're gonna get into a post. I guess not post because it's still going on, but pretty much post combine draft,
Yeah.
mock draft.
Yeah.
Which would be
Pre-draft.
which would be exciting. I'm excited about that. I love draft stuff, so I'm not as as into it as some people like No Ceilings and these other podcast like YouTubers and stuff that
Mm-hmm.
like they know their big toe and if it's got a nickname and stuff like that like crazy, dude. Like and it's wild. So we'll get into that, but let's go ahead and start with the playoff kind of update. As we know, most people know, OKC swept the Lakers, and the Knicks swept the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
Either of those a surprise to you?
Not really. I mean, we even predicted the Thunder probably finishing in 8 games the first 2 rounds, maybe 9. So no surprises there. They were just kind of overpowered, and as we thought. The Knicks sweeping Philly, I could have seen it going maybe 5, but I feel like that's not super surprising either. Just the way that Philly was looking with Embiid being banged up, and I mean they really shut Maxey down too. I'll give them credit on the defensive end. They kind of took all the life out of the series after game 2 and just kind of coasted from there. So
I mean,
not a whole lot.
he was the only guy you had to guard. I mean,
Yeah.
they just threw. I mean, when you throw OG, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart at a guy, what more can he do? And then behind him is Mitchell Robinson, and Cat's been a really good, you know, I guess defensive player this playoff series. Has been really good.
Yeah.
So, there's just nothing. Him alone, he could not do it. He
Yeah.
just couldn't do it by himself, and they got nothing. I mean, Joel Embiid gave them nothing pretty much. Paul George, who's supposed to be their guy in this playoff series, did nothing. And
Playoff
then
P.
everybody else is playoff P, and everybody else is just you know, ancillary, and so they're not
Yeah.
expected to do anything. So
Yeah, which I was hearing on the radio today. I know Embiid's contract, he's still on contract for I think 3 years, 180 mil or something like that.
whoa.
Which yeah,
Yeah,
60 mil a year. I'm like, that's
yeah,
how you can't get out of it. Nobody's going to take that contract.
no,
And
why?
if you waive him or whatever, dead money, all that, that's not good for you either. So I think they're kind of locked in for 3 years, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, the hard part about it is this season was about the best you probably could have gotten out of Embiid in the way
Hmm.
that he didn't play a lot during the regular season. He ramped up towards the end, was looking good, had a great first round series, kind of, in my opinion, won them the first round series, kind of with his play, and then he turns around and can't perform in the second round. So it's like what are you supposed to do with a guy like that? Like I don't know
Yeah.
what else the Sixers could have done with him to put him in the best spot to win.
Yeah. I don't think they really could with this particular roster shakeup or makeup. They'd have to shake up the roster to have a chance because I think they're missing one piece, and whether that piece was Paul George performing or VJ performing in this series, it's pretty evident that unless Embiid is really at full health, which clearly he was not, even then, they were going up against Boston, who didn't have their best player and just got absolutely demolished by the Knicks. So I don't see them really standing as much of a competition in the playoffs even next year unless they have another third piece that is really able to carry them offensively when Embiid's not at full strength.
I just don't know where they get it from either. You know,
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be pretty hard pressed to get free agents there. And I mean, I guess they have a draft pick. I believe they have a draft pick, but it's not a
that's not very
particularly
high.
great one. So unless they're able to pull something off, I feel like they're just going to have at least this next year is going to be tough. But if you have 3 years of Embiid at that price, it's also going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. Anyway, we don't want to get in the nitty
Yeah.
gritty of this Sixers team, but I don't blame them for giving him the contract they gave him. I mean, he was an MVP level player. Obviously, he won the MVP. So
Hmm.
I don't blame the Sixers for investing in him. It's just too bad. Okay, so like I said, OKC sweeps the Lakers. We talked about that kind of. We expected it. I expected maybe a little more of a fight from the Lakers, but Austin Reeves looked horrible. And if you didn't get an All Star level Austin Reeves out of this series, you had no chance at all. Even with
Yeah.
him being in that level, I don't think you had a chance. But
Yeah, I agree. And we'll talk. It sounds like we'll talk more about that probably next week. We'll
yeah,
get into that.
next week we have a special guest coming on, so he's a big Laker fan, so we'll talk about that
Yeah.
next week.
But the only other thing I'd highlight is it sounds like Luca was not close at all to coming back, which we figured, but at the same time, they kind of, they're always talking about, oh, he might come back. Apparently, he was not close. So
I
fun to
think
find that out.
if he'd have been close at all, he 100% suits up. Maybe he doesn't play like 40 minutes or something like that. Obviously, probably couldn't do that. But
Yeah.
I think they suit up just to give the Thunder like a got to think about it kind of thing,
Right.
So, but
Yeah.
they didn't see, and then their reports are funny. So we'll get that next week. But so the two series we have still going on. We got the Pistons and the Cavaliers playing tonight, tied 2-2.
Hmm.
Looking like a great series. I kind of like that one. And then we have the Timberwolves and the Spurs. Spurs taking a 3-2 lead yesterday. Let's start with the one tonight, the Pistons and the Cavs. How do you see that one going?
Well, the Cavs haven't won on the road yet this postseason, so it'd be pretty easy to say they're not going to win tonight, which I mean, I think the Pistons should get it done tonight. I do think it'll go seven. I'm hoping the Cavs figure out a way to. I mean, they've played better the last two games than they did the first two. Obviously, they won, but that being said, I don't think they played particularly well in the first two and still had a chance for a little bit in those. So it really just depends what version of Harden and Mitchell show up. Obviously, Mitchell lights out last game, so
Was so
hard
good.
to lose when you've got him playing like that. But I think it'll really come down to free throws and fouls. That seems to be a big theme this series of whoever wins the free throw battle has won the game and gets other people in foul trouble. So it's been a fun back and forth series, and hopefully we've got a good game tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I think unfortunately the Cavs. I don't think they win the next two games. Honestly, I just think that it's over now. It's just hard to. Um, it's hard to see a game like where Mitchell has to have 40 points and have like a historic
Mm-hmm.
half to make it work. Um, and so I don't know. I think the Pistons kind of just have their number, and
Yeah,
they're not getting anything from. I mean, Harden looks horrible, turning
yeah,
the ball over all the time. Like he just doesn't look like the guy you expected him to be in this series, for this team. Um, and then Evan Mobley has not really shown up either. So
yeah. Which that's why I'm like, there's still a chance because if they actually do play to their strength and show up, then they certainly could win. And it is hard to beat a team four times, especially in a row. So Cleveland's got a tough task to now they'd have to win three and then probably four in a row to get the job done. So it's always fun to watch it go seven because you kind of see the back and forth between both teams. But if Detroit really is who we think they are, then they should, I think, take care of business.
no, I think so too. And switching gears, we have the Wolves and the Spurs, like we talked about. 3-2, Spurs are up. How do you have any outlook on that one?
I'm just happy that Wimby put Gobert in his place. Honestly,
Oh, uh,
it's so fun to watch. I mean, obviously, still Rudy's still a great player, and he's had pretty solid series. First against Jokic, really good against him one-on-one matchups, and he's held his own against Wemby as well. I think Wemby's shooting something in the low 40s percentage wise when they're one-on-one matched up. So he's doing what he can, but I think it's just going to be really hard to stop them from taking Game Six. And the Spurs offense just seems to be finding another gear. Um, we'll see how it goes going back into Minnesota. I think that was their first win there in Game Four in the last couple of years, so it'll be tough to win there. But I think they seal it out on the road.
yeah, I think so too. I think Wemby's just on a different level than anybody that, and you don't have Anthony Edwards at full health. I mean, you can just see it kind of the way he's playing. It's he's doing the best he can, but if you don't have him full strength, I don't think anybody they can compete with what Wimby's doing. Um, I am a bit surprised on how well Wimby's doing thus far. I thought the physicality would get to him. You know, he's a more slender player. You know, he's taller and stuff like that, but like getting pushed around and getting bumped and grabbed and stuff like that, like I thought would have more of an effect than it is.
I agree, and I think that was kind of their one weapon against him was, hey, let's just wear him down, and keep going at him as much as we can rather than trying to avoid him because I don't think there's much way that you can avoid him. So just going through him is probably your best bet. But unfortunately, I think Randall's just had a terrible series. I mean, he's shooting upper 30s from the field, and
Yeah.
not that he's had a very good year overall, but kind of has reverted to maybe some more of the Randall that we've kind of come to expect from. Just a kind of shot chucker, not particularly great in the paint, and they're not able to keep up offensively with the Spurs. So I think they're going to need more from him, especially with Ant being a little bit hobbled. So it's been an interesting series, but I think the Spurs, like, clearly Wimby is motivated, and I think that was kind of unfortunate that he had to miss most of that game they lost, but I think that obviously motivated him for the next game and probably will get them through the series after that.
Yeah, I mean, warranted. He
Sure, sure, yeah.
just stared Nasri right in the face and then elbowed him right right in the throat.
Yeah.
So I I'm surprised that he didn't get suspended for a game or so, but hey, I'm not. I think the NBA looked at it like he got ejected early enough in the game to make it worthwhile for him to play. You know, it was like, okay, he learned his lesson or something. So I don't know.
I think you could argue that it wasn't intentional that he came to the face. Like, unfortunately, he's 7 foot whatever and
True.
right in the right spot at the wrong time. So, yeah, he shouldn't have thrown the elbow, but I don't think he was trying to physically hit him in the face. So that's probably why they waved it off. But
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think the Spurs wrap it up next game?
I do. I think they're just going to be too hard. It's a road game, but I don't think Minnesota's got the offensive firepower to show up enough to get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I agree. So I think it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. We'll give another update next week when I mean I believe that those series will be wrapped up no matter
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah,
So um,
yeah. We'll preview the next round probably next week and give a
yeah,
quick update on that.
yeah. I don't know what the schedule is. I think it's not determined yet. So maybe there's a game in or something like that. I don't know. That'd be kind of a tight turnaround. So we'll see. But to move on to the next segment, I think it's exciting that we're going to do a little mock draft here.
Yeah, now that we know who's picking where and what's all going on.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to use our good friend Fanspo to uh, to help us here.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, I didn't mean to be the bearer of bad news for Pacers fans, but when we did our previous mock draft, they did lose their pick to the Clippers, and it happened exactly how we drew it up.
Yeah,
I
that
don't think all the picks lined up exactly, but Washington was one, and I remember the Clippers got the Pacers' fifth pick.
yeah.
So I can't take all the blame, but I will take some of it. So sorry, Pacers fans, for doing that to you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We'll get into that, but that is, I mean, and the GM coming out like hours after being like, "Hey guys, my bad." I was
Yeah.
like, "That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane." I mean, I guess he had to because you know, it was his bad. He made that trade for Zubac, taking the chance that thinking that they were gonna tank the rest of the year and get this top four pick or whatever,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if it worked, you look like a genius. If
Right.
it didn't, and now you look like an idiot, even though you're still
Uh,
going to be a good team. Zubac is a
right.
good player. He's worth a first round pick, you know.
For sure.
So, but well, I don't know
Yeah.
top five. I don't know about that, but
I think for what they need, yeah, they definitely need a center. You're not getting a center in this draft at pick. I guess if they would have been in the top four, they could have. But I don't think it was a bad move. It just didn't work out as good as it could have.
no, for sure, no, it didn't. So Ben and I decided earlier. We did a little spin the wheel, and I got the first pick.
He
So
cheated.
I cheated. Yeah, I did
He
it
called
all
up
on.
Silver. He said, "Hey, help me out."
What Ben doesn't know is I spun that wheel about 7 times before I
Yeah,
sent him the video.
exactly, exactly. Never trust the video they sent.
Yeah, right. So, um, on the clock, we have the Washington Wizards. Who did you know that this is the first time? I don't know if it's in like since they redid the percentages and stuff, but it may be of all time. I don't think so though. Anyway, that the team projected to get the first pick got the first pick.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
I want to say it's since they did the lottery odd change up, because it seems like a long time for that
hmm
never to happen. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, good for them. I feel like in a way, their tanking paid off. They made some moves, obviously, to get themselves positioned for next year too. But uh, they tried hard to get where they are. So I could tell the GM was very happy.
Yeah, he was thrilled about that. So with the first pick, I think it's I don't know. A lot of people are all Darryn Peterson or AJ Dybantsa. I think it's pretty obvious. I think they're going to take AJ Dybantsa to fit alongside Trae Young and Anthony Davis. I know they have young wings but Trey Johnson's more of a shooting guard. Um, Keyshawn George and Will Riley and these guys, but there's there's no way that those guys are anywhere near what you could get from AJ Dybantsa. He tested athletically really well. His
Hmm.
shooting at the combine wasn't the best, but everybody knew that already. It's kind of one of
Hmm.
the things that like everybody knew that he wasn't going to be the best shooter coming out of college. So they know exactly what they're getting, and they know the upside there.
Yeah, so I guess our format here is you tell me who the pick is. Whoever's picking makes the
Yeah,
pick. The other
right.
person makes an argument why that's not the right pick. Is that
Well,
correct?
we don't have to do that. We can just
Okay.
say if you agree, and if you disagree, you can say what that as well. But we'll just kind of
Okay.
go like that. But
Yeah. So I strongly disagree. I think
yeah,
that no,
I'd
I,
love to hear. I'd love to
I
hear that.
I do not think there's any other pick for them here. I think Peterson's the only potential argument, but I think you've laid it out pretty clearly that they need scoring and they need somebody that's, kind of an all world talent that I don't think any of these other players are. Even Peterson, I'm not totally sold on. So I feel like Dybantsa makes sense for their roster. Uh, they've got Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and Alex Sarr. I feel like they need a solid two or three. Dybantsa's the best one on the board. Peterson to me is a little bit more of a, you want the ball in his hands, creating his shot. He can shoot off the ball as well, but I feel like they've got Trae Young that's going to just dominate, ball handling for them and getting Dybantsa where he needs to be. So I would rather take Dybantsa. Plus, his size to me is that's going to mean a lot to them. So they're going to potentially have AD, Sar, Dybantsa.
Yeah,
I
Trae
mean,
Young.
Trae's short, but
Yeah,
trying to think of length as well. I mean, they've got other kind
Keyshawn
of length.
George. He's
Yeah,
six
he's
nine.
he's 6'9". Wow, I
I
thought he
think
was like
so.
6'6", but
I think he's 6'9". Yeah,
still,
6'9".
either way, they're going to have length almost like Utah in some ways. So it's going to be I wouldn't say a scary offense necessarily because we haven't seen it work yet, but they have potential to certainly have a lot of scoring prowess on the floor all at once.
No, absolutely. So moving to pick two, you're on the clock with as the Utah Jazz GM. How are you going about this?
Um, I'm first of all, I loved that the Utah Jazz GM was like fist pumping and yelling in the meeting. Like that's what you are there for, right? Like you're not just
Mm,
there to, oh yeah, no, great, like Utah's been screwed over so many times by the lottery that I think this was the first time they moved up in like
that's
a
interesting.
decade or something like that. They were talking about, or one of the few times they hadn't dropped, and I'm like, okay, you've got to feel good knowing that you did tank hard. Everybody knows it, but you're able to finally get, into tier one. Tier one
Yeah,
to me is
for sure.
Peterson and Dybantsa. So I don't think there's really a pick that's not Peterson for them here. Uh, just based on their current roster construction, which they could change up. So that's subject to change. But I do think that they needed a scoring guard that takes a little bit of the pressure off of what's his face?
Keontae George.
Yeah, Keontae George, to where he's going to be able to handle the ball if he needs to come off the bench as the sixth guy or be in the starting unit, kind of take that pressure off Keontae. So I think Peterson is a natural fit for them offensively, and um, I don't have long term concerns about his health. It seems like a lot of soft tissue stuff, and apparently creatine was the problem. I'm like, well, how much
Sure.
creatine are you taking, man? That's
Yeah.
you
Well,
only need a certain amount per day, but
from what I understand, he didn't know this before, but his body produces a large amount of natural creatine
well,
or
everybody's
something like that.
does.
Yeah, but
But
like
I guess
apparently
he's
his
just
is a little bit
superhuman.
more. And so anyway, I don't know. It's like it seemed like a thing that he threw out there and his team threw out there
Yeah,
just to like get get off, you know?
I
It's
agree.
like
Yeah,
there's a creatine issue, like I don't know. And it was like, yeah, and he was nervous after he did the first time. He was nervous. So every time he felt any sort of inkling that he was going to cramp, he just asked out of the game. It's
right.
like, oh, okay, I don't know about that. So this is your pick?
Yeah, that's my pick. And I'm like, do you know how much crap LeBron got in the finals when he had cramping? I'm like,
Mm.
can you imagine if he came out and was like, oh, yep, just too much creatine for before the game, Like I get it, but it's kind of annoying.
Well, you remember Paolo? There was a big story about Paolo in college where he would like lose 5 or 6 pounds every game that he would play because he was a big sweater,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had to come up with this like special liquid or something mixture of like I don't know electrolytes and whatever to counteract it all, and so it was like a big deal for him the cramping stuff, and I was like that sounds better than I take too much creatine, and
Right.
so like I don't know, but. Um, For me, I do agree. I think Peterson is the pick here because your other two options are either you trade up, try to get the Wizards to trade for you or for trade back one spot. I don't know what you have to give up for that. Maybe Laurie Markkinen, but I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and try to get Dybantsa because Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz funneled a bunch of money into BYU to get Dybantsa there, and
Hmm.
so they love him. It's known that they love him. So maybe he they try to get some sort of deal done there. They have a lot of picks. You know,
Hmm.
they can string together to try to make it happen. If they want to make it happen, I can guarantee you that they will. And the Wizards drop back and get Darryn Peterson, and they're not mad about it. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of where I say I just for me, I don't like Darryn Peterson. I get having a personality that's a little bit laid back, but you're gonna go into meetings with teams, and sources say that he went in and told them that he is a loner, and it's like, oh, so you want your starting point guard, star player, to be a loner. And I get it. Kawhi Leonard was the same way. Or is the same way. He's kind of that way. But Kawhi Leonard didn't start out at the talent level that he is, and
Hmm.
he's not a point guard.
Right.
So I just think your point guard's got to have a little bit of personality, a little bit of like fire underneath you.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think I want my point guard to average more than 1.6 assists. As I see that
Oh,
staring at me in the face, I'm like,
yeah.
that just. I know he's more of a scorer naturally than he is a passer, but I don't know. It's I don't think that he's not ranked number two for a reason, but I also don't think that he isn't number one for a reason, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, for sure.
I do think he's a good fit for Utah's current roster construction, like I said, but I do think Utah could make some more moves, like you mentioned as well. So I think naturally, if Washington keeps their pick, they're going to take Devonta, and then that means Peterson's going to come number two.
Yep, I agree. Um, so next on the clock is I have the pick for the Memphis Grizzlies, which is an interesting one. I know consensus says that Cameron Boozer should come off the board here, and I lean, I guess, a little bit towards that. I had a hard time with this because I don't know the fit between. Before the combine, I was
Hmm.
almost convinced that I was going to take Caleb Wilson here
Hmm.
because I thought him and John Morant moving in the front court, their ability to run the floor, that combo. Now, if they keep John Morant, that's whatever. You have to assume that they're going to roll with Morant. That's what I'm thinking here. Um, but I watched a clip of Cam Boozer shooting the doing the 3-point shooting drills and stuff.
Hmm.
He looked good. He looked good
Yeah.
shooting the ball. A little bit slow release, bigger guy. I mean, it's just is what it is. That's fine. Um, he will shoot them when he's open. I was worried about the fit between Edie and Boozer.
Hmm.
Two lumbering, big, physical, inside dominant players. I just don't.
Hmm.
So I worry about that a little bit. I was going to get your thoughts on it before while I kind of wrap up my pick here, but
Yeah. No, it is definitely a tough peak. I mean, man, what a week for Memphis, huh? Just one moving up to three, but then two losing
yeah,
Brandon Clark yesterday.
rest in
Like,
peace, man. That's sad.
yeah, I mean, especially sad just for him and his family. But side note, me being also a B Clark, the only B Clark in the NBA
Oh,
with an E and everything,
true, true.
I always felt a kind of special connection to him. So really sad to see him go. But uh, yeah, I think pick wise, you're probably leaning the same way I am. I think I always thought Wilson was probably more athletically gifted and probably a bit more of a raw talent, but could develop into something kind of more NBA proof at some
Hmm.
level. But I think Boozer seems like the natural pick that they're looking for, somebody that's kind of already maybe a little bit more polished in his game, who he is. I don't think he's going to really develop much of a 3-point shot, honestly. Not that he couldn't, but I mean, think of not that his dad's a great comp, but somebody that's going to be not necessarily back against the rim, but he's able to stretch the floor in like 17 footers, 19 footers, that sort of thing, and kind of pick and pop with Jaw a little bit. So
Yeah, he
that's
just didn't. He just didn't shoot that ball. She just didn't shoot that in college. It was like
yeah.
he refused to. It was either shoot the three, or if he caught it in the mid post, he one dribble hop step tried to get to the basket, and so I worry a little bit. But I think his talent and his knowledge for the game, his
Hmm.
analytics. I mean, his analytics are insane. I looked it up earlier today. They're the Naismith College Player of the Year
Hmm.
hardly ever busts. I mean, they don't always turn into like super duper stars or whatever, but um, for the most part, they don't really bust that often. So I think Memphis wants a win now player, and I think they don't want to wait. So
Right.
I'm
I
gonna go
agree. I think they
fan
need
Boozer
to
here.
inject some life into their fan base, and I think Boozer being the big name and having that college career is kind of they're banking on the fact that he has the talent and that he's going to fit in a little bit more seamlessly with Edie and with Ja.
Yeah, for sure. Um, all right, next up we have the Chicago Bulls who jumped up in this draft. Good for them. They jumped up
Yeah.
a big amount. I think they were supposed to be ninth. So
Yeah.
bummer for the Mavs later. But anyway, um, it's on the clock for you.
Yeah. So probably I think, Karma was just like, hey, you get rid of the worst GM in potentially history and Billy Donovan's gone, we'll reward you again with, I feel like Adam Silver's just in there dialing it in, like, all right, let's even it out. But I think they'll be obviously very lucky to move up to the fourth spot, but they'll have a decision more so than I thought. In my head, I was thinking at first, okay, yeah, Caleb Wilson, fourth off the board, but then I was trying to think outside the box too of like, what do they really need? I mean, they need scoring. I mean, they've got Giddey, who's a distributor. Currently, they have Simons and Sexton, but who knows if they're going to stick around. Uh, they've still got Buzelis. I feel like Wilson's kind of the natural pick just because he brings size and a lot of athleticism and he can score the basketball, and that's kind of what they need. But if they revert to what they have been doing for years in, the last 5 years at least, they're going to take somebody that we're not expecting, which then I was like, okay, who's that going to be? I kind of think it's going to be Wagler,
Okay.
but I don't really have a great reason for that other than I feel like they're intrigued by his 3-point shooting and scoring, and they may not want another lanky big man since they've got some of those already, but they certainly could use it. So I think Wilson's probably the final pick that I'm going with.
All right. Yeah, I think Wilson's the pick here. I think this was a top four draft. The first four guys were above the rest.
Hmm.
Um, it just, I mean, I just think his mid range jump shot looks good. I think it can potentially translate to a three consistently. Um, his athleticism is insane. It's
Yeah.
just getting out in the open floor with Giddey and Buzelis. Just having those two guys, um, they do need to figure out what they're doing in the middle
Hmm.
as far as that. But also, I mean, Caleb Wilson is a generational defender. This guy is going to be able to defend every single position. I think 1 through 5. He may be a little slight for guarding fives right now, depending on
Yeah.
who they are. But for the most part, I think his athleticism will make up for that.
Yeah. And they definitely need size. Obviously, losing Vooch. Who do you think their starting center is going to be next year? I mean, they've got Collins coming back.
Maybe Essengay, but I mean he's kind of a
Yeah.
four. But
Right.
hopefully, I think they're hoping that he can develop into something. But
Yeah.
even then, he's a little bit of slight. So I guess it's Zach Collins. And the Bulls could trade back. I don't know. They could trade back if they think like they can pick up something and maybe get who knows Mara, or a lot of people are high on Morez Johnson Jr. But I think they honestly, I'm with you. I think they take this guy. Um, Next, like we talked about, the Pacers big losers of the lottery. They lose their pick and give it to the Los Angeles Clippers, who now sit at 5. And I think, I mean, on my big board, I like Darius Acuff as a player. He's not going to
Hmm.
play for the Clippers. I think they trade this pick. Honestly, this is what I
Really?
think. I think that they could use some youth. I get that, but I think that they could really trade this pick pick up assets moving forward. Maybe I guarantee they're calling Milwaukee right now and saying, "Hey, what can we put together, 5 and whoever, to try to get Giannis?"
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first pick that could be moved for Giannis, if that were be the case,
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say they stay here. I think it's Keaton Wagler. I think his off-ball ability and on-ball ability.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he can play with Garland,
Mm-hmm.
but his defense anyway. He can play with Garland because he's 6'6", can shoot the ball, can make plays off the dribble. He is a little slight. He'll need to grow into his frame, but I think he fits well with what they're doing. He's young, 19 years old. So if they decide, hey, we want to move on from Kawhi, and so they were the oldest roster in the NBA. The Clippers
Mm-hmm.
were. So they need youth, and if they decide they want to move some people around, I think that they could build around Wagler. I think he's a good piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any disagreements with that. That was my pick for them at 5 previously, and I'm going to stick with that. I think shooting is of utmost importance for them, and Wagler's probably the best on the board there, other than, I guess, maybe Acuff or Burries. But I think overall shooting, they're looking for 3-pointers, and that's going to be Wagler.
Yeah. I had a thought because Burries really performed well in the combine. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, 6'4", 215.
Yeah.
NBA ready for a team
Yeah.
that kind of wants to compete. I had that thought, but I just don't think that Burries, if the Clippers decide to transition from Kawhi to a rebuild, essentially, I don't think Burries is the guy they would build around. So they want somebody to kind of be able to try to build around.
Right, and I think Wagler fits that naturally. The only other wrinkle we still haven't heard the results of the Kawhi kind of, Steve
I don't know if
Ballmer
we're ever
stuff.
going to hear anything.
I know they're still looking into it. I guess there's no ruling yet, but there's been talk of maybe some sort of suspension for Kawhi, if not like loss of picks potentially in the draft. Curious. I doubt anything will come of it at the end of the day, but
Somebody said on one of the Locked On podcasts, they said, what if they come back and they void Kawhi's contract?
mm-hmm.
He becomes a free agent, can go wherever he wants to. Maybe they suspend him for a year, who knows, whatever. And the Clippers now have $50 million in cap space, and they just go, hey, Milwaukee, you want to trade Giannis to us for the 5th pick?
Yeah.
Straight up, and then they don't have to take any salary back. They don't have to give any salary.
Right.
That'd be a crazy way to do things, but
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. But that'd be funny.
Yeah, just adds a little layer of unexpectedness to it. But I think Wagler is pretty comfortable. I don't think they're necessarily going to trade that unless they get some sort of big name like Giannis. So all right, 6th pick.
Yeah, 6th pick. We got the Brooklyn Nets
Mm.
on the clock.
Yeah, this one was tough for me. I honestly thought they'd be picking higher, which I'm sure they did too. But I really thought that they were going to look for a big man, either Boozer or Wilson. That's kind of how I always kind of mocked them. So the fact that we're sitting here and they've got probably 4 guards in a row that are probably the best available. They've had such a weird last draft was so weird for them. I don't know.
Yeah,
Still don't know what they were thinking completely. 5 first-round picks, and none of them looked particularly great. Yeah, you draft 4 guards, and I'm like, your best draft pick was probably the only non-guards.
Yeah, Danny Wolf, yeah.
Yeah. And then you refuse to play him that much. I don't know. They're just kind of a mess. But I guess they're keeping Porter Jr. another year. Claxton seems to always be on the trade block and never get traded. So I think they're just going to have to take best available here. I would be surprised if they pass up on Acuff just based on the scoring, but I really wanted Acuff to go to the Kings, so I think they're going to pick Acuff here, just out of talent alone. I think he's probably the most gifted scorer. You could argue Brown could be in that conversation too, but there's question marks about his back, so I think I'm going Acuff at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this combine was going to be a big one for Acuff.
Hmm. Yeah, you talked
He
about that.
he needed to measure well, and he did. I mean, considering everybody thought he was, he was listed like he said. I think it says here 6'3",
Hmm.
and everybody thought, well, he's shorter than that. He's way shorter than that. I thought he might come in at 6 foot, 6'1", maybe.
The old max preps.
Yeah, yeah. So he ended up measuring 6'2", so he would be
Hmm.
6'3" with shoes on.
Yeah.
6'7" wingspan. So I thought that was pretty impressive. There was a funny moment because everybody talks about how he's this pick and roll maestro and the way and he is. I watched enough at Arkansas um, to know that he is going to be great in the pick and roll.
Hmm.
But he did like a an interview with one of the analysts, anyway, former coach, and they went down there and basically the coach was like asking him how he would read pick and rolls. And this
Hmm.
is on ESPN's broadcast. Darius Acuff did not feel confident in any of his answers. And the coach is like trying to be like, well, what would you do if this happened? Like, and Acuff would be like, well, I think I would shoot the ball here. And the coach would be like, well, but like, what about? And then like tried to coax him into the right answer. And I thought that was real interesting. I was like, for somebody who's supposed to be this pick and roll maestro, that's a tough situation to be in right there.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like kind of a more floor general, kind of cerebral type player. Which, not that he's not smart. I'm not insinuating that. I just, like you said, his play style is a little bit more like, what is it going to take for me to score the rock? How I'll use the pick and roll if I have to kind of get to the basket or to get it to somebody that'll get to the basket. But I feel like his first inclination is to score. So he's not necessarily your pass first point guard that you might be looking for. But for the Nets, they just
What they
need
need.
scoring and they need
Yeah,
somebody to be able to, you know, handle the ball on their own and get to the basket. So I think he
absolutely.
fits probably best out of those guards that they can build around him comfortably, have somebody that has the talent to really produce for them. So
Sure.
I think that's where they'll go.
Yeah, and defensively, I mean, they're not like we know they're not looking to win a championship next year, even probably make the playoffs next year.
Yeah,
So, um,
they're the
I think
Eastern Kings.
yeah, right. And then so you can look to the future a little bit and say like, hey, we're gonna give you the ball. You and Nick Claxton try to see if that works. If not, maybe we'll ship him out. But like you said, they never seem to want to move him or whatever. Never find
Yeah.
a suitor, maybe I don't know, but. Yeah, I just think the worry with Acuff is like we talked about. His defense is horrible. I don't know
Hmm.
I don't know if he's going to get better because it's not. I mean, he has the length and he's not 6'3", so that's not bad. But for whatever reason, he just can't navigate screens. He can't. He gets beat back door. It's mental
Hmm.
lapses, and so I just think he gets picked on a lot in the playoffs in the NBA. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if the Nets get there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think the Nets are gonna be making the playoffs for
Yeah,
him to get picked
anytime.
on?
I don't think anytime soon, but we'll see. Um, anyway, so next pick we have the seventh pick, Sacramento Kings. Too bad for whoever gets picked by this team.
Welcome to Sacktown.
Welcome to Sacktown, and where your career will probably die. Um, I think Sacramento needs everything. So I think they're going to go best player available. I think they're going to go highest upside. Um, Now this is, I guess, I don't even think it matters. Honestly, they're gonna go. They're gonna go Michael Brown Jr. here.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I just think he has the highest upside. His jump shot looks really good. He's good off the ball. He's not afraid to shoot the ball, which they kind of need.
Hmm.
And he's a good playmaker. 6'5", good size, good length. I mean, he's like a couple. I think his wingspan was maybe an inch or two more than his height, which is fine, I guess. He has the tools to be a decent defender. Um, yeah, I just think he has the highest upside offensively for what they need. So that's kind of where I'm going, and I'll let you.
Yeah, and he's young too. I think that's important to them in this draft. They're one of the oldest rosters as well, probably right behind the Clippers were. So they need a guard of the future. Malik Monk, we thought would kind of be that, but they didn't seem to buy into him last year. So
Not a
I
point
think
guard.
apparently, yeah,
I
which we
guess.
learned. So I think Brown. It's good for them that there are a lot of guards available here. They can kind of choose who they want. But I do think Brown probably has the highest ceiling out of those guys on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Next, we have the Atlanta Hawks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll be curious to see what they do with CJ. I don't anticipate them re-signing him, which leaves a decent void at the guard position. I have kind of always mocked them taking a guard in this draft. Eighth pick, I mean, that's pretty good return for not taking Derek Queen and moving down and getting the guy you wanted and then getting a free lottery pick out of it. So, job well done there. But I think they've got a couple options here. I would like to see them take Flemings. I think defensively, he's probably the best guard available there for them. He has potential to be a decent shooter. He's not as good of a scorer as some of the other guys that are going before him, but I think for what they need, they don't necessarily need him to be kind of a microwave, get to the basket type guy. He can kind of mesh with Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I think he'll be defensively what they need as well at the guard position. So it'll be kind of a change from what they're used to with the Trae Youngs, offensively minded point guards and no defense type of player. But I think that's kind of what their team needs moving forward. They have some scorers already. They need defense and stability at the guard position.
Yeah, I like Flemings here. I think it's a fine pick. They need that. Yeah, you're right. CJ McCollum, unless he's going to come back on like a team friendly deal,
Mm-hmm.
I think that he goes to a contender somewhere, and Atlanta is a contender to some sort, But I was if I had this pick, I was going to kind of shake things up a little bit, and maybe take Adam Mara
Interesting.
from Michigan. I just think that the Hawks in particular need size because Okongwu is a good center. I think he's a good defensive center, but he's only 6'9", so
Mm-hmm.
like 6'10" maybe. And so they need size to go along with these guys. And if they bring back CJ McCollum, then they can have a good pick and roll, maybe something or another. But that's kind of where I would have tried to shake it up a little bit. But I'm not mad with the Flemings pick here.
Yeah, I do agree. They do need a big man as well. I think they may have to address that in other areas in the draft, probably through free agency or trade or something. But because they seem to be pretty bought into Okongwu for some reason, like that's their guy. So I would like to see them bring in another guy, but I think Flemings might long term be a little bit better situation than Mara offers. But they could certainly go that direction too.
I just think you maybe, and I think I'm with you here because also they can find size later. I think they have another pick, not in the first round, but they have a second round pick, I believe. Um, and so they can find there's good enough size back there. Henry Vasar is one of them, just off the top of my head that I'm thinking about, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think taking a definite point guard to team up with Dyson Daniels, which would be cool. I do worry a little bit about their shooting here because Dyson Daniels we know cannot shoot, and Kingston Flemings did really well in the shooting drills in
Mm-hmm.
and at the combine, but I don't like his form.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps everything to like just the side of his head, like off to the side, and I don't know how that translates to the NBA. And it's slow, and it's like I don't really like
Yeah,
his form that much. So I don't know. And he shot good percentage, but on like one or two 3-point shots a game. So it's like I don't
that's
know.
like double Dyson Daniels, man.
That's
That's a
true.
lot of shots.
Yeah, that's true. For that team with everybody on their team, with Jalen Johnson and
Yeah.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I mean, two threes a game, they're gonna be like, let's go.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. And next the Dallas Mavericks, who dropped one spot, which big bummer. Really wanted
Yeah.
them to jump up and everybody be real mad at us.
Shouldn't have beat Chicago, man.
Shouldn't have beat dude. Yeah, if they lose, they end up fourth.
Hmm. Probably.
They do, yeah, because it was a coin flip between them and Chicago, I think, or something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
they could have ended up in the top, but anyway, they sit here. I think they stay. They could trade back. There's been a lot of rumors about maybe reaching out to OKC, and saying like, hey, if
Okay.
OKC, if you like any of these guys, then maybe you trade us 12 and 18 or 12 and 17,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll give you 9,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of go like that. Which I wouldn't mind, I guess. You come out of the draft with 3 first round picks for a team. This deep draft, I wouldn't mind that too much. I think if they stay here, they're going to take Burries, but I would not be surprised at all if Masai steps
Mm-hmm.
in and says, "We want Morez Johnson." This guy,
Really?
measured like a 7'3" wingspan,
Mm-hmm.
like jumped out the gym. His measurables were insane, and Masai is known for these drafting these guys who are just
Mm-hmm.
lengthy. And his shooting drill was really good. He shot really well at the combine, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do trade back because they want to get Morez Johnson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But if they stay here, I think they get Burries. I think he fits really well with Kyrie and Cooper, and maybe can learn and then take over for Kyrie whenever years down the road. Whatever happens there, if they trade Kyrie or if he just retires, who knows? But he only has
Mm-hmm.
probably 4 years left in his career, maybe. So um, I think, and he did not weigh 205, 6'4". He's 215. So he is ready. He is NBA ready, 19 years old, fit well.
That's like me, 6'4", 215. All right.
There you go. Yeah, you're ready for the NBA. Yeah, I really like Braden Burris here if he's there.
Yeah, I do as well. Obviously, Arizona, big fan, so it would be cool to see him here in Dallas. But I kind of was along the lines of you. I like the thought of moving down, just because, I mean, we don't have another first round pick for, was it 4 years after
Yeah,
this?
to 2031. I mean, we
It's like
have first
30
round
or
picks, but
31.
not our own.
Right, right. So I'd like to see us acquire some more picks while still, like you said, if we can move down to 12 or 14, something like that, to where we're still able to pick somebody there, but we might get some future picks out of it. I'd like to see that because I like some people further down the board for us. Um, so depending on what we can get there, I do think guard is the right pick for us. We need somebody off ball from Kyrie that can also, maybe run the point here and there, kind of give him a breather, especially as he comes back from his ACL. He should be fully good to go, but just kind of easing him back in. It'd be nice to have a rookie kind of learning the ropes too. So I think that I like Phylon a little bit more than I like Burries for us.
I I had originally thought about Phylon, but him measuring at like 176, he only
Yeah.
gained 2 pounds since last combine,
Mm-hmm.
and a whole year ago. Um, I don't like the size. I just don't think he's going to be able to defend. He one of his things was like, oh, he played really good defense in college last year, then didn't
Mm-hmm.
play that well this year, but he had more offensive responsibilities. Um, I don't think he defends well in the NBA with his size. He's not
Potentially, yeah.
he's not long. He measured 6'2", and I don't think his wingspan. I think his wingspan was 6'7" maybe or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, plus wingspan, but not good enough for his slight frame.
Sure. And I think that's probably his weak spot that you highlighted. I think he's a little bit, I don't want to say more of a cerebral player than Burries is, but I do think that's kind of his strength is his IQ and, getting to his spot, getting people where they need to be. So I think his 3-point shooting too definitely is a weapon that we could use. I have no issues with Burries. I feel like that's a great pick as well. Those were kind of the two I was choosing between, unless they do move down. Um, but I'd be curious to see if somebody pulls the trigger on Burries before he gets to 9 and kind of makes that decision for us, or if we are really going to move down.
I think that is a real possibility. I think like I said, he tested really well, shot really well in the combine.
Yeah.
I think there's a real chance that somebody earlier takes him. But if somebody earlier takes him, then that means probably somebody drops. Like I'm not taking
Mm-hmm.
Phylon over Flemings or anybody else that really falls. I don't know,
Yeah.
but any of those guards at least. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Chicago moving up really kind of changed my board a lot to where I figured Burries would be kind of a natural fit in Chicago. But
yeah, Not that early though. Maybe they trade
No.
down with Dallas though. Maybe Dallas moves up for Caleb Wilson, and Chicago gets Burries or whoever they want, and
Hmm.
be interesting. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, or it might even be a post-draft trade like Luka and Trae. You never know.
There you go. Yeah. 10th, we have Milwaukee, who is in a tailspin as a franchise. So
Yes.
I'm interested to see. I think they're definitely a move up contender, especially after the news of wanting to trade Giannis.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see why you wanted to pick first because one, you get the Mavs, you get the number one pick, and you don't have to deal with this mess with
Yeah, that's a
Milwaukee.
mess. I don't have to deal with Chicago. I don't have to deal with Milwaukee. I don't
Yeah,
have to
you set me
Brooklyn.
up for this. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it all depends on what they do with Giannis. I'm still convinced they're going to move him before, as long as it's a good package. Somebody's going to want Giannis, so I don't see any reason for them to keep him right at this point because there's nothing that you're building around other than him. Obviously that is the reason to keep him, but I don't think they're a contender next year. I think Giannis wants to be a contender. He's going to be gone. It's just a matter of what they can get for him. So the chance of them having the 10th pick when all is said and done, pretty slim. So I'll just do my best with where they're at. I do think they trade up. If for whatever reason they don't, I don't know what they should do here with this pick because that means most likely Giannis stays. And if he stays, I don't really want Nate Ahmet to it just doesn't seem like the right fit. Neither does Landborg quite as much. Like they kind of need some better guard play. And unfortunately, all of the top guards are probably gone at that point. So at that point, it's just taking probably your next star because who knows what's happening with Giannis. So I really hope they do trade up, uh, get rid of Giannis, kind of start fresh, hopefully get some more picks out of it for the next drafts as well. Uh, so I just don't see them picking at 10 here. But if I had to pick somebody, I don't know. Maybe, how do you say his name?
Yeah, Jaden Quaintance, who
Acquaintance, yeah.
out of Kentucky, who measured 6'10", 7'5" wingspan. Didn't do any of the other athletic measure, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it, and then the drills, and then he went and did the shooting
Hmm.
and sucked it up. So, I don't know why his
Yeah,
counsel told him to go do the shooting, but whatever. And so his thing is this knee injury and whatever. But
right.
maybe they take a chance on. But he has no offense really.
Hmm.
He's a defensive first guy. So I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
if I'm
what are you
Milwaukee
picking?
here,
I'm curious.
yeah, if I'm Milwaukee here, I think that you're kind of, you're going to trade Giannis probably before the season starts. I'm either taking Phylon if I'm going to get rid of KPJ or
Hmm.
let him walk. I think KPJ is a free agent. Or I'm going to take Native Mint and hope that he can grow into what he is, his potential. I think
Yeah,
it's a good potential pick here.
yeah.
But I'll leave the. Do you think they go guard or do you think they go for
I
potential?
I think they go for potential with Ahmet.
I agree.
Assuming they've got Rollins still, and if KPJ stays, then they probably have more of a need for a forward, especially if Giannis is gone. But
Yeah,
let's go with Ahmet.
I think he's a bust, honestly. But
Yeah, I'm not optimistic for him, but talent-wise, he has potential.
moving on to pick 11, I got the Golden State Warriors, which is the first kind of tougher one for me. I think a lot of people think that Lindeborg is going to go here.
Hmm.
Um, but I think he and Draymond can't. Not that they can't play together, but they kind of overlap a
Hmm.
lot in like their usage and kind of they're both not the greatest 3-point shooters. Um, I think I'm going to go Mara here uh, because I think that they haven't had size like him since Bogut, maybe. Like
Yeah,
to have somebody like this who can set big screens for Curry, who can rebound well, let Draymond roam around instead of having to, protect the paint. Um, maybe put a couple years on his career.
Hmm.
So I think Mara is a good pick for them.
Yeah, they've kind of got some options here. I'm really curious. What do you think they're going to sign Draymond back for sure?
I think they will. I think that there's no reason why they shouldn't sign him. And if they trade him, that's a different story. But I'd sign him back. I mean, he's like the one of the centerpieces to your dynasty. I mean, you can't just like kick him to the curb. Seems harsh,
I
especially if
mean,
you're going to bring back Kerr.
well, sure, yeah, and Kerr's coming back 2 years, so
Yeah,
there's that. So yeah, I think that definitely made it lean more towards Draymond staying than going with Kerr coming back. At some point, they're going to have to kind of not start fresh, but you're going to be post Curry, post Draymond, and is Mara going to be that guy that you model your team after in say 3 years from now when Curry's gone and Draymond's gone? That's my only question.
yeah, it'd be hard. I think he's a good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's so hard to see what they're going to do because
Yeah,
that team is just going to be so different than what it is when I mean they'll be in a full rebuild. So who knows?
yeah. What I would like to see, and this is kind of off the radar, but I would like to see them move up a couple
That'd be
spots at
cool.
least. And I don't know what they'd have to do to, have to probably do something with Porzingis or, obviously Jimmy's. I think he gives them a bit of a mid-level exception or something like that with his injury. I'm not totally sure, but uh, I'd like to see them move up to get kind of a top talent to see what they can do with Curry in the last 2 years.
I just
Just
don't
kind
know.
of
I don't know in this level of draft if a team is going to be like, yeah, we'll take on Jimmy who isn't going to play all year next year,
right, right.
and I mean Porzingis who's on a $40 million contract now. He's expiring, I think, right?
I
Porzingis,
believe so. Yeah, that's why I feel like it has to be KP. I
sign
don't
and
think Jimmy's
trade,
going anywhere, but
but I don't know what team in the front. I mean, unless you can trick Brooklyn or Sacramento into into thinking KP's their savior, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's kind of the one piece that I'm blanking on what they could do. But if they're trying to maximize that 2 year window that they have, then that would be something I'd like to watch for. But not likely. More likely that they will make their pick here, and we can definitely go with Mara there.
Cool. Next on the clock is Oklahoma City at
Yeah,
12 with somehow getting another lottery pick for the whatever. So,
like a fifth year in a row.
yep, you're on the clock. You're Sam Presti.
I feel pretty confident that they will take Landborg here. I think especially with, I mean, eventually they're going to have one of their many, several, seven, role players that do the dirty work for them. One of them has got to be let go at some point, right? Like they
Yeah,
can't just keep,
Dort's out the
yeah,
door.
yeah. So I feel like Dort replacement naturally could be Landborg. He's a pretty solid defender. He gives you more size. Kind of, I think that's a great fit for them. What they need, especially building long term. They've got Shea, they've got Jay Will, who are going to be scorers. You don't necessarily need a big man because you've got Chet. I don't know if Hartenstein will be back necessarily, but it's a lot easier to find kind of a plug and play big man like that than it is for kind of these 6'9" wings. So I think that'll be a pretty seamless fit for them. They'd be pretty excited to grab him there, I believe.
No, for sure. I think he'll be there, and I think that they'll run to the podium to take him because he's playoff ready. I mean, this
Right.
guy's he's 23 years old, I think, and so I know it says 22 there, but I think he's older than this, just a
I,
little bit.
I I think so too. And they don't need him to be anything great right off the bat. They just need a solid role player that can fill their void that they're going to have after this season, and that's all they need. And he could be a great fit for that.
No, for sure. I think so too. Um, moving on, 13, Miami Heat. Um, I th- they need it. They need a lot of stuff, but they need a guard. They need somebody to run the show. I know they tried Tyler Hero. They tried Davion Mitchell. Neither of those guys are really point guards. I mean, Davion Mitchell's the size of a point guard, but
Oh, the
not really.
ISO King, man! How dare
So
you?
he, I know
Blasphemous.
I trashed him so hard, and then he went out and scored like 40 in a game. I was like, oh, great. Um, yeah, I think this is Phylon if he's here. I think they would love that because then he can come in and be like uh, a good distributor. Uh, he's a good shooter. good length, can play defense. Showed in college he can play defense a little bit. I am, like I said, worried about his weight. But you go to a world class organization like Miami, maybe they can put some weight on him. But I think him and Hero would be a good backcourt, though.
It would be like the skinniest backcourt of all time,
I know.
but they're shifty and they play to their strengths. So they're certainly I could see that working out for them. Seems like kind of a Heat culture guy. The only other one that you mentioned Sturts previously before. I
Yeah.
feel like that may be even too much with Hero and Sturts, but I could see Mullins being the other option here for them.
Yeah, Mullins. Unfortunately, I think he announced he's going back to school.
Oh,
So
is he?
yeah,
Okay.
he's on here, but I don't think he's. And the same thing with this guy Thomas Haug. Oh, he's gone now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
He's going back. Yeah.
Um, another pick I thought about here was also Dalen Swain. Get him a guard. I mean, a wing that can defend, good, decent shooter. Attacks the rim hard. It's kind of a potential pick, but like
He must have tested well at the combine, huh?
Dalen
Swain.
Swain.
Yeah.
He tested really well. He tested pretty good. This guy tested amazing. He had like the biggest wingspan in the whole, like 7 foot. I think it was a 7 foot wingspan, 6'5".
Those KD
So
arms.
yeah, so and he's a good shooter anyway. He rose up draft boards big time. Just
Yeah.
not high enough for this, but yeah, I think they're taking Fine. And then the last pick of the lottery, I believe, the Charlotte
Charlotte.
Hornets.
Yeah. So everything that I've read and what I've kind of leaned towards is big man for them. I'm still like I feel like Diabate is a very solid player. I don't see why they necessarily have to grab big man, but I don't think Kalkbrenner is necessarily the answer there either. So if they can find some sort of athletic big man, like they may take a chance on Jaden, uh, maybe more as Johnson if he's still there. Those are
Yeah.
probably the two that I'm leaning towards. I think Steinbach is going to go a little bit later, but he's pretty close. But it seems like they're leaning towards a big man from what I'm seeing. And I mean, rightfully so. They've got LaMelo in the backcourt. They've got Brandon Miller. They've got a lot of guys that are going to be able to kind of handle the ball and score for them. So they could certainly use a little bit more production out of their center.
Yeah. So who are you thinking there?
Let's go with Johnson.
Yeah. I think
He's maybe not as tall as you want, but there's less question marks.
Yeah, I thought maybe Sanak would be
Yeah.
all right, but I just think Johnson, his shooting was better than Sanak's.
Mm-hmm.
Athletically, he tested better, and he's just not as tall, which is fine. But they're only 2 inches shorter. I think it'd be fine. Him and Dubate might be a good fit together. Maybe if he can really space the floor in
Mm-hmm.
at the NBA level, they might be able to play together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can maybe move on from Bridges or something. But
Yeah,
that's for them to decide.
yeah. I would like to see them move on from Bridges eventually. So it seems like they want to be kind of run and gun offense, spread the ball out, have that one athletic big in there, whether that's Diabate or whoever they draft here, and just kind of be there as kind of the motor, get some offense rebounds, supply other guys.
For sure, for sure. And this guy provides so much defense. He fits in. He fit in really well with a Michigan team that needed him to play a specific role,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly what he'll do in the NBA. So I like that pick for them. So that overall that wraps up our post combine and lottery mock draft. We had Dybantsa going 1, Peterson 2, Cam Boozer 3, Caleb Wilson 4, Keaton Wagler 5, Darius Acuff 6, Michael Brown Jr. 7, and then Kingston Fleming, Braden Burries, Nate Ament, Ade Mara, Lindeborg, Philon, and then Morez Johnson Jr. I'd be stoked if Dallas was able to be in this spot. But anyway, we can get to that point whenever we do our Dallas rebuild.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that'll be coming soon. I do feel like it's a draft board that's not particularly not a lot of shockers necessarily.
Yeah.
It'll probably only be shaken up mostly by Milwaukee, depending where they end up moving if they do. So I don't see a lot of jump ups necessarily, but that's something that we're looking out for and very curious.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of this 5 to 9 range has a lot
Hmm.
of variability. It's like what do you value more? Like I think Mikael Brown could easily go 5,
Hmm.
6, 7. I mean he could fall because of his back issue. I mean there's a lot of variance here in what could happen. Somebody could love Braden Burry's size and his shooting and his defense.
Hmm.
Think that maybe the Clippers think that they don't need a star. Maybe they're just gonna keep trying to contend, so they don't need Keaton Wagler to be their future. So they want something now. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's all,
it'd be
all about
interesting.
what you want from your guards, really. That 5 through 9 spot, it's going to probably be a spree of guards, is what it's seeming. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this draft. This draft happens in June. I don't know the exact. I think June 10th maybe or something like that.
yeah, I
I don't know.
believe I
Somewhere.
believe somewhere around there. So, we probably got 4 or 5 more weeks, but
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Hear about team workouts and stuff. So that'd be fun. But thank y'all for listening. We love doing this stuff. We are really excited for what is coming up next week. Like I said, we kind of have a special guest, a longtime friend of mine, um, coming on the pod. I'm kind of excited for it.
absolutely.
So we got a lot of stuff going on. We appreciate y'all listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think about our mock draft. If you agree, disagree. If you have any hot takes, do you think Caleb Wilson can go number one? Like, let us know. Like, what do you think? Like
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
what's happening with Giannis? I want to hear what people are
Yeah,
thinking about that.
for sure, for sure. Or is Mikael Brown Jr. going to get traded if he gets picked by Sacramento in the next 3 years? Probably so. So in their history. But yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see y'all next week.